In the Garden of Eden, God commanded Adam, saying, "Of every tree of the garden you may eat freely, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, of it you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die." This tree of the knowledge of good and evil is a tree that leads to death. The greatest effect on Adam and Eve after they had sinned was that they acquired knowledge. They understood good and evil. In other words, the influence of the fall on man's physiological constitution and the first subjective impact it had on man was that man's intellect became bigger than before. Before man fell, he had a mind and an intellect. But after his fall, his mind and intellect became different from what God had intended them to be at the beginning. For this reason, Paul said in Ephesians 6:17 that we should receive the helmet of salvation. This shows that man's head needs salvation. Among God's children, there is a great problem. They have the life of Christ, but they still have the head of Adam. This frustrates them from understanding God's will. Therefore, it is important to put on the helmet of salvation. It is important for our head to be saved.
2 Corinthians 1:12 says, "Not in fleshly wisdom, but in the grace of God. We have conducted ourselves in the world, and more abundantly toward you." We need to realize that the principle of the Christian life is to be according to God's will and not according to our wisdom. It is trusting in His grace rather than in our wisdom. Suppose a matter is presented to you, and you do not know whether you should do it, or you do not know how to do it in the proper way. You consider and reconsider, pondering this way and that, but you have forgotten that God's children do not live on earth in fleshly wisdom. Being a Christian is a simple thing. All we need to do is ask what God wants. If we still ask whether we should do this or that, then we are still entangled with questions of good and evil. We should not live in fleshly wisdom, but in the grace of God. We are responsible for one thing only, doing God's will.
Romans 12:2 says, "But be transformed by the renewing of the mind, that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good, and well-pleasing and perfect." We must all remember that our responsibility is to obey God's will, while God is responsible for the result of our obedience to His will. It is God's business, not ours. Our cleverness is useless in God's hand, and our foolishness is also useless in God's hand. If God wants us to do something, we should do it. We live by only one principle: trusting in God's grace and doing His will.
Ephesians 4:23 says, "In that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind." This means that man's mind needs to be renewed. And Romans 12 also speaks of the same thing. Be transformed by the renewing of the mind. The result is that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and well-pleasing and perfect.
Who will know God's will? Only those who have been delivered by God from their mental strength knows His will. Our mind must be renewed before we can prove what God's will is. Our problem is that human thoughts often have replaced God's will. Therefore, our head needs to be saved. We need to be delivered from trusting in our mind or our mental ability. Whenever the Lord breaks our strength, smashes our power, and deals with our natural life, we will be clear concerning His will.
Romans 8:5-6 says that, "For those who are according to the flesh mind the things of the flesh, but those who are according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For the mind set on the flesh is death, but the mind set on the Spirit is life and peace."
What is the mind of the flesh? One characteristic of the mind of the flesh is to believe in ourselves, to think that we know everything, and to be confident of everything. The mind of the Spirit also has its characteristic, which is to have no trust in ourselves, to be hesitant and fearful in saying or doing anything. It's not under the control of natural wisdom, but under the control of God's command. The result of the mind of the flesh is death. On the contrary, the result of the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. Hence, our head must be saved before we can be free from the control of the fleshly mind and before we can have the mind of the Spirit. Only then will we have life and peace.
We need to pay attention to the last phrase in 2 Corinthians 1:12, and more abundantly toward you. We have to learn to never bring our secular mind into the consideration of spiritual affairs. Our secular ways, tactics, strategies, and cleverness may be useful in other things, but they are absolutely useless in spiritual things. We have to learn to obey God's will and give up trusting in our own wisdom. While we are obeying God's will, we should look to Him to carry us through all the difficulties that we face in doing His will. From now on, we should look to God so that we can conduct ourselves in the world not in fleshly wisdom, but in His grace, and so we can obey His will.